Hi guys, it's Yana Kolirodakis, and I'm here to present my lesson plan for second grade mathematics. So let's get started. I wanted to tell you about the overview and content of this lesson. It's a 4-day lesson plan unit on representing and solving problems involving addition and subtraction. The core standards is second grade and use addition and subtraction within 100 to solve 1 and 2-step word problems involving situations of adding, take from, putting together, take apart, and comparing with unknown in all positions by using drawings equations with a symbol for the unknown number to represent the problem. So given 5 equations, students will be able to use addition and subtraction within 100 to solve 1 and 2-step word problems with 75% accuracy. Prior knowledge includes add basic facts, decompose and recompose numbers in different ways, know what the equal sign means and that it means the same amount on both sides, know that a symbol can represent an unknown number, solve 6 plus 4 Solve 6 plus 4 equals box. Know what a question sign means in an equation. Solve with missing addends. 6 plus question mark equals 9. And know when one quantity is equal to another. 3 plus 5 equals 4 plus 4. So I'm going to spend some time talking about the canned food drive with my students, and I'm going to present a problem. Ms. Davis's and Ms. Meredith's class have been asked to bring in canned food items for the annual Thanksgiving food drive. The donations are in front of the room in these bags. Which class brought in more on the first day of the drive? Put the question, which class brought in more, on the board, so we can readdress it as the lesson unfolds. And then ask, how can you tell? The student volunteer will pull out the can from the first bag of Miss D's class and count and stack those up. The teacher will write 5 on the board, right here. So then after that, after I write the 5, I'm going to count the second bag that came with Miss D's class. The volunteer pulls the cans from the second bag and stacks them up in separate stacks, and she counts. The teacher puts a 7 on the board. This stack has 5 and this stack has 7. How many did Miss D's class bring in altogether, and how can we find out? And then I'm going to ask the children to record a math sentence that would help us find this out. I will call on students and I'll be expecting the answer for someone to write 5 on the first stack plus 7 equals 12. That's what I'll be expecting the kids to write. And then I will ask the students how he or she knew it was 12 and record the students' thinking. Now, let's not forget about Miss M's class. And we're going to count the number of cans in the first bag of Miss M's class. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to write 3 on the board for Miss M's class. This is where I'm going to take the opportunity to ask the kids some critical thinking questions. I'm going to ask them things like, do you think that Miss D's class and Miss M's class are equal? How can we find out? And what equation can we write to find out to represent the missing number? So I'm going to expect the class to write 3 plus question mark equals 12 to see if it's equal to Miss M's class or Miss D's class. So I'm going to ask the kid to count the second bag, and I'm going to write on the board 3 plus 9, which is the question mark. We're going to fill that in. What does that equal to? 12. And then I'm going to ask the kids, did both of the classes bring in the same amount? And what mathematical word means the same amount? And I'm going to be expecting the kids to say the equal sign means the same amount. So if you look at our new equation, I'm going to circle what we have. 5 plus 7 equals 12, and 3 plus 9 also equals 12. So Miss D's class and Miss M's class each brought in the same amount, but each brought in a different number of cans for each. Do you see that? So I'm going to be expecting the kids to write their own equation. 5 plus 7 equals 12, and 3 plus 9 equals 12. So that means 5 plus 7 equals 3 plus 9. Five plus 7 equals 3 plus 9. And this is how I'm going to be closing the lesson. How will the teacher assist students in organizing the knowledge gained in the lesson? That's my question. How will I? I'm going to review the lesson. So this is what we learned today. Here's where we started. We wondered if each class brought in the same amount. In the middle of all these problems is a sign. What is a sign? So what does that equal sign mean? What can come after an equal sign in a number sentence? How can you find out what number replaces the question mark? So this is their homework. Now, create 3 math equations so that you have a number sentence with operations on both sides of the equation. And the kids can look back and remember the activity we did. How Miss D's class had 5 cans in one bag plus 7, which equaled 12. And then Miss M's class had 3 in one bag. And then they had 9 in the second, which equaled 12. So, I'm going to ask them to make 3 math equations and have a number sentence with operations on both sides of the equation. Okay, so now I want to discuss the guided and independent practice. What I'm going to do for the guided practice is use the same numbers that we used for Miss M's class. So, remember, Miss M's class had 3 cans in her bag. So we're going to write a 3 down. And then we're going to do plus 9 to represent Miss M's equation equals 12. So, remember, we can say 9 plus 3 equals 12. So, suppose that our class brings in a first bag of 4. So write down 4. Plus question mark. How many would have to be in the second bag to equal Miss M's class? Work with your partner to figure out how many would be in the second bag. Then see if you can write down a math equation that would show how many were in each bag and that the 2 classes had the same amount. If you want, you may use the small coins which represent the cans on your desk to figure this out. So I'm going to circulate and observe the children's work and listen to their conversations. If a student's misunderstanding or seems stuck, I'm going to use the guided questions to help them rather than telling them the answer. Some guided questions are, what do we have to find out? What information in the story will tell us? What looks familiar in the problem? And then I'm going to choose a student to share and explain their answer. If the student does not prove an explanation, I'm going to use the guided questions to draw out their thinking. For example, what does their number represent in our story? What does it mean if 2 things are equal? How do you know this is correct? So then I'm going to give the class another question. Miss Ryan's class brought in 4 cans in one bag and 6 in another. Write down 4 plus 6. Our class had 5 in one bag. Write 5. Think about how many more would our class need to bring in to equal Miss Ryan's class donation. Write the equation to read. 4 plus 6 equals 5 plus what number? Use your chips to model the problem. Then I'm going to circulate and use the guided questions to help students understand and explain their solutions. I'm going to pick someone to explain their work. And then I'm going to have a big question of the day. How can you make a number sentence so that there is an addition problem on each side and both sides are equal? Now you will each write a number sentence using only 2 plus signs and the 1 equal sign in your own mini cans. I want you to use a question mark in a number sentence like we did in our number sentence on the board. Once you have created your number sentence, see if your partner can figure out what your number would replace the question mark. Remember, the two sides must be equal. If you're unsure how to get started, think back on how we worked together to create the number sentence on the board. Then I'm going to circulate and find two groups and share their responses. I'm going to start with one simple example and then choose a more complicated answer. And now this is independent practice, and these are the concepts that I'm going to use to reinforce the skills developed in the lesson. I'm going to use cans, which represent the chips, and one partner will begin by creating one side of a number sentence using one plus sign and their coins. The second person will wait until the first person is done. When it's your turn, you're going to create the second half of the number sentence using your coins and plus sign. Remember, our goal is that each side of this number sentence must be equal. Together, decide where to put the equal sign in the number sentence. I would like to hear you explain to your partner how you know this number sentence is true. Once you have created your number sentence, please write down on a strip of paper. Then I will circulate and find two groups to come up and share their responses. So anticipated questions include, how can you tell? What does it mean? What do we find out? What information is this story telling us? What looks familiar in the problem? Can you close your eyes and visualize it? And how will you represent this part of the problem in math language? So those are the independent and guided practice. Now, when it comes to the ESOL students, my English for speakers of other languages, I have two students. I have a Thai student and a Spanish-speaking student. Juan is in the second grade, and he is L1 proficiency. To help him, we're going to use non-verbal languages such as thumbs up or thumbs down to see if the student is understanding what's going on. And those are called inverbal cues. Q is a Thai-speaking student with a proficiency of L1. For math, we're going to help this non-English speaking student with using English language skills to help the student use vocabulary that they learn and grammatically correct and complete the sentence. After sufficiently practice with using the frames of expressing their math thinking, students will be ready to frame of writing. I'm going to allow the student to be in partner talk and have their groups come up with questions, and partners allow more students to participate in the classroom. Next, I want to discuss my ESE students. Tammy is in the second grade with autism, and she's going to be using Pass It On Learning, as well as extra time in class, modified lessons, and self-monitoring checklist. My other ESE student is Maria. She's in the second grade with dyslexia. She will be allowed more time during independent work, allowed extra time to complete tests, provide opportunities for writing and spelling each day, writing in a journal, and sending emails, and given manipulatives, such as things to touch or things so that counting will be more easier. Okay, and Joe is in the second grade with ADHD. He has hyper-focused and hyperactivity. Things that are going to be helping Joe is electromath worksheet software, as well as avoiding the student to become easily distracted. So putting him refraining to put him by windows or loud places, like the door. And he will be using a self-monitoring checklist as well. So my sources include CPOMs and other ones listed. All right, so that's it. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to my lesson plan. Hope you have a great day. Thanks. Bye.